Well, when you say that, we have to define fetus. What is a fetus? That's a Latin term for little one. And little one in this case is human, a person. And so all of us are in the continuum of development throughout our lives, and we're in different stages of development. That doesn't make us any less human or any less of a person or any less of us standing in society because we are in different levels of development. So an embryo is just beginning, and that's the first stage of development where we all used to be, and that embryo has its own DNA. And by 6 weeks, when most abortions happen, that embryo has now become a fetus, and it's growing and developing. It's got fingers and toes and fingerprints, and it can feel pain and digest food, and it has organs. And by the time 9 months comes around and you're ready to give birth to that baby is more developed than it was when it was an embryo, but it's less developed than a 2-year-old. It's less developed than a 4-year-old. A 4-year-old's less developed than a 10-year-old. A 10-year-old's less developed than an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old is less developed than someone who's 25, 30. Someone who's 30 is less developed than someone who's in their 60s. They have more life experience. And so we're all on this continuum, and we can't determine that because someone is small, someone can't be seen, or someone is in this lesser stage of development and doesn't have certain abilities, that they're not human and they don't have rights, especially the right to life. This is a human rights issue. This has nothing to do with a man's choice or a woman's choice. No one has the right to end an innocent life. It's very horrifying to me that in our society that we decide the most defenseless among us in our human family can be exterminated based on someone's whim or choice or so-called right. At the time when someone is the most defenseless and they can't defend themselves physically or with their voice, we decide that they don't have the right to live. There's no trial, there's no jury, they haven't done anything wrong. We've just decided that they can be eliminated. And there's not anything in our society or in a family or within the culture that determines someone's worth, whether they have abilities or they don't have certain abilities. That's not where our worth comes from. Our worth comes from God. Well, first of all, I don't think there's any unwanted people, and I think we should stop using that term because that almost denotes that when someone is unwanted, that somehow their life can be terminated and that they have no value or worth. And I think that that's just the wrong semantics to use. That's just semantics used by people that profit from abortion. And I think our society needs to stop saying things like that. There are plenty of families, almost 1 million, that are waiting to adopt, so that child's wanted by someone. And as I've been a nurse since 1995, and I haven't met anyone who was suffering or struggled with a disability who didn't feel like their life was worth living. So I'm not sure that that's an argument that should ever be made because that person is wanted by someone and they want to live. As far as moms who can't afford to care for their kids, they can give those children up for adoption. That's what people used to do. It shouldn't be the first thought in a person's mind that they should go ahead and have an abortion and kill that child. It's unfortunate that our society has got to that point. I was a teen mother when I was 17. I had my daughter, and she's 22 today, and I'm glad that I had her. I had an abortion before I had her, and the difference is night and day. That abortion has wounded me throughout my life, and I killed one of my kids, and it's very hard to live with. But being a teen mom wasn't easy. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it was, but you are able to go to school in America. You are able to get assistance. There's plenty of resources. There's people that are willing to help you. It is a struggle, but it can be done. So I just don't find the abortion argument. What basically happens, I think, is that people feel like they have no choice but abortion, and that's not a choice at all. I still don't think that it's okay at any time to kill innocent people for any reason. In the case of the life of the mother, we should do our best to try and save both, not make it an either or. The baby is, typically these situations occur in the second or third trimester, and that baby has to come out whether it's dead or alive. And so we should do everything that we can to save that child as well as save the mother. We shouldn't be picking. As a medical professional, I know that a cesarean section can be done in 5 to 10 minutes, and so there is no reason that I can see that we would do a late-term abortion, which takes anywhere from 48 to 72 hours if the mother's life is in danger. If someone's life is in danger, that's an urgent situation and it needs to be addressed immediately. It can't wait for a few days. So I think that that C-section is available and it's something that should be done. As far as ectopic pregnancies, we don't have the technology to save those embryos, and so we just have to do the best that we can, and hopefully technology will become available in the future where we can take care of the mother and the child in that circumstance. When it comes to rape, I think our society has it completely backwards. We somehow have decided that the innocent child that is conceived from the rape is somehow guilty and somehow the perpetrator and deserves the death penalty, and then we let the perpetrator, who's actually the rapist and the father of the child, we let them go to prison maybe for a few years or a life sentence, but we don't take their lives from them and we don't demand their lives from them, but we do from the innocent, and I think that's very backwards. And we end up victimizing the mother again because abortion is traumatic and it hurts women. It doesn't just leave the child dead, but it hurts the mom too, and it's going to hurt her again in that instance, even though it was from a traumatic event and a violent event. And moms used to give their lives for their children. It's just very odd how things have changed where mothers are demanding the lives of their children to save their own. I think it's a very sad commentary on the humanity of our society.